The crime that shook a species. The Vorlax Empire had conquered more than 50 star systems, shattered fleets, extinguished civilizations, and rewritten the borders of half the galaxy. Yet for all their power, they had made one fatal mistake. They killed a human child. Not a soldier. Not a spy. Not a threat. A child. A boy named Elias Carter, aged 9, from a quiet colony world called New Brighton. And worse, far worse, he was the only son of General Arya Carter, humanity's most ruthless battlefield commander. For years, the Vorlax believed humans were unpredictable, stubborn, overly emotional, but manageable. They underestimated what humans became when someone harmed their family. No one in the galaxy knew human maternal wrath. They were about to learn. The day tragedy struck. New Brighton had been a peaceful world, a small farming colony with no military installations. It should have been safe. The Vorlax, however, had mistaken one of its energy arrays for a hidden weapons relay and launched a precision strike. Precision, as it turned out, was not their strength. The plasma bombardment annihilated half the settlement. Survivors fled underground. Arya Carter was across the sector overseeing a treaty negotiation when the message came through. A trembling officer approached her, pale and sweating. "General, New Brighton was hit." Arya froze. "Casualty reports." The officer swallowed. "Civilians, many lost." "And the children?" He hesitated. "Your son, Elias, he didn't make it." The room fell silent. Arya didn't scream. She didn't cry. She didn't collapse. She simply closed her eyes, exhaled once, and said 4 words that chilled every soldier nearby. "Prepare the warship Revenant." Middle, the wrath of General Arya Carter, the woman who never lost a war. General Arya Carter had been called many things over the years. The Blade of Terror. The Last General. The Human Doombringer. She earned her titles through brilliance and brutality. When diplomacy failed, she was the weapon humanity unleashed. But she never acted without cause. Not once. Until now. This time, it was personal. The Revenant's departure. The Revenant, humanity's most advanced dreadnought, lifted from its dock like a beast waking from centuries of slumber. Its hull shimmered with adaptive plating. Ion engines roared to life. Thousands of soldiers stood in formation as Arya walked aboard. Not a single one dared speak. Her expression was carved from stone. Her eyes were something else, void-like, cold, empty. The look of a mother who had lost her world. The ship launched into FTL, and with it, a storm crossed the stars. The Empire's reaction. The Vorlax Empire heard the news but dismissed it. A single human child? The general will grieve and move on, their emperor declared. She will negotiate, complain, maybe demand reparations, added his advisors. But a lone intelligence officer felt dread creeping into his bones. Humans don't move on from things like this, he warned. They take revenge. The emperor scoffed. What can one general do to an empire? The intelligence officer whispered. You have no idea what their generals can do. The first strike. The Revenant entered Vorlax space without warning. Its first target wasn't a civilian world. It was a military fuel depot, one of the largest, supposedly impenetrable. The Revenant punched through its orbital defenses in minutes. Arya didn't even bother with negotiations. Inside the command deck, an officer glanced up. General, Vorlax Command is requesting terms. Arya's stare was colder than the vacuum outside. There are no terms. And the Revenant fired. A sun-bright explosion tore through the facility, ripping it apart. The shock wave lit up 3 surrounding moons and crippled the Vorlax fleet stationed nearby. Humanity didn't start wars lightly. But Arya Carter didn't wage wars lightly either. She ended them. The hunt begins. Arya knew simply attacking wasn't enough. The Empire needed to understand why they were suffering. So she transmitted a message across the Vorlax starnet. Just one line. You killed my son. I am coming for the Emperor. Entire systems panicked. The Empire scrambled fleets. They fortified borders. They rerouted their elite guard to the capital. It didn't matter. The Revenant cut through them like paper. At Rovek Station, Arya disabled the station's life support and extracted data on the strike order. At Vornis Belt, she hijacked a Vorlax command ship, accessed their strategic maps, and erased their entire border defense grid. On Krylon 7, she executed a rapid ground assault, capturing their High General and forcing a confession broadcast across 10 sectors. Each victory fed her growing legend. Each defeat fed the Vorlax fear. The Empire begins to break. Within weeks, the Vorlax Council declared a state of planetary emergency. The humans are relentless, cried one minister. She does not stop. We must negotiate, urged another. But Arya didn't respond to negotiation attempts. She only responded to targets. The Emperor's advisors begged him to surrender, or flee, or offer himself as tribute. But the Emperor refused. She is mortal. A single human woman. She cannot break an empire. But Arya wasn't fighting as a soldier. She was fighting as a mother. And no empire in the galaxy was prepared for that. Climax. The assault on the Vorlax throne world, the walls that always held. The Vorlax throne world, Vorlax Prime, was a fortress planet surrounded by rings of defense platforms, automated weapons grids, capital-class warships, and a planetary shield that had never once fallen. Every species in the galaxy believed it impenetrable. They had never faced Arya Carter. The battle begins. The Revenant tore into real space like a meteor. Alarms screamed. Defense rings activated. Fleets mobilized. General, enemy warships locking. Fire all forward cannons, Arya ordered calmly. The first volley reduced an entire destroyer squadron to flaming debris. Vorlax Prime responded with a barrage of plasma lances. Arya didn't flinch. Bring us through. The Revenant dove straight through the firing lines, ripping through warships, shattering formations, deflecting thousands of rounds with adaptive shielding. The human crew said nothing. They followed their general into hell. The shield breaker. To breach the unbreakable planetary shield, most armies would need a fleet of hundreds. Arya brought one ship and a weapon she personally designed. The Astrius Lance. A weapon built for one purpose. To end sieges instantly. Its energy built to a blinding crescendo. Target the shield generator, Arya said. General, firing the lance will cripple our power reserves. Arya's expression never changed. Do it. A beam of pure white fire lanced from the Revenant's prow, punching through the sky like a spear of judgment. The Vorlax shield crackled, screamed, and then shattered. The unbreakable had been broken. The throne world was exposed. Ending, the general and the Emperor. Arya landed with her elite strike team in the palace courtyard. Guards rushed to stop her. She cut them down. Drones swarmed. She shot them out of the air. Automated turrets activated. She walked through their fire with shields that burned blue around her like a vengeful goddess. Finally, Arya entered the throne room. The Emperor stood with trembling guards. You killed thousands, he shouted. You killed my son, Arya replied. It was a mistake. No, she said softly. It was the last mistake your empire will ever make.
What happened next was quick, cold, surgical.
Arya killed the Emperor with a single shot. The guards dropped their weapons. Vorlax Prime surrendered within minutes. The entire empire within hours. Final resolution, a mother's war. 2 days later, the galaxy received a broadcast. General Arya Carter stood on the ruined steps of the Vorlax throne. The Vorlax Empire attacked civilians, she declared. They killed my son.
And they paid the price. She didn't smile. She didn't boast. She simply ended with, "Humanity does not seek war. But if you come for our families,
we will burn your empires to ash."
The galaxy listened and trembled.
4 centuries afterward, the Vorlax told stories about the human general who destroyed an empire by herself.
Not for glory, not for conquest, but for love. And every alien child learned a simple truth. Never harm a human child.
Not if you value your civilization.